Hey folks, welcome back. It's good to see you again. And today we're going to be talking about the fact that words are frequencies. They do not carry frequencies, they are frequencies. And each word carries its own resonant signature that we feel when we utter it, whether we utter it out loud or whether we utter it in our minds. When we create mantras or affirmations, we have to feel into those words to determine whether or not the words that we're using to create our mantra or our affirmation actually carry a positive resonance with them. So we have to be very mindful about our words all the time, and also, when we're making affirmations and setting positive intentions. We feel that resonance as an activation or a positive feeling in our heart space when we utter it. The same is true for the words that we utter unconsciously. They produce a feeling or an activation within us, whether we know it or not, when we're speaking unconsciously out loud or to ourselves. And, the problem is that, today most of the words that we've been trained to repeat over and over in our heads have essentially led us into this dumpster fire that's taking place on planet Earth right now. We are creating planet Earth with the words that we're using. And a lot of the words that we're using have been taught to us so that we will be the creators, of this mess on planet Earth. The more people or human beings or thoughts, that are sort of recruited into this style of utterance, the style of speaking or referring to oneself or others, the thoughts of humanity have more or less been hijacked to create this reality. So, words like "you'll never make it," like, is that what you're going to wear to the party? You're way too lazy for that job. Stuff that we were taught when we were little, and stuff that's been reinforced throughout the narrative has taught us to create, a mess. We are creating ourselves through the words we utter, and since we're nothing but energy and words are frequencies, they actually have the power to augment the way our energy flows, which is another way of saying that, words truly shape who we are. When we break down human beings into what we really are, we'll find that we're nothing but energy. We're not matter, okay? We're space. Or basically an idea being comprehended through a human central nervous system. So what does this mean? It means that our words make us who we are. The words take form in the mind of the beholder to create the being or the beingness of the subject. So as we break down each of the particles that make up matter, what we find is that there is no matter. An atom is 99.9% space. Everything is made of atoms, including people. Therefore, people are also 99.9% space. Truly what a human being is from an energetic point of view, if you could put on, energetic glasses that allowed you to see what a human was or is, we're Merkabas. We're two pyramids, sort of squished together, one pointing up and one pointing down. We're a torus. We are an infinite sort of flow of energy, or a continuous flow of energy. So, that's why in the beginning, everything started with the word. In the beginning, there was the word, because everything flows from the word, or what we say, again, whether it's out loud or in our heads. And when it comes to sort of saying things that are positive, we don't get necessarily the same feedback that we get when we say negative things. Like when we say something like extremely negative on planet Earth, it manifests like that. Now, if we're holding each other's sort of highest intentions, that might take some time to manifest, but it does manifest eventually if we're sort of diligent and we stick to it, and that's has to do with that grid that I talked about before, basically that inhibits positivity from sort of taking shape or taking form on planet Earth today. But, if we pay attention, we do see that positive or negative, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right either way. I mean, both wind up happening. So, if we're observant and we pay attention, we can begin to start to discern the relationship between what's going on inside our heads and what's going on in our reality. We'll see that reality does ultimately follow the word. And, we have to be very truthful and honest with ourselves to see this, but this is how it works. And, you might find that the words you were surrounding yourself with a few days ago have become the reality that you're living in right now, right? For those who've devoted themselves to personal growth and, depending on their connection to all that is, over time, we become less harsh with our words, to ourselves and to others, because we know the effect they have. We don't want to create discomfort in ourselves, and we don't want to create discomfort and suffering for the people around us. We become word alchemists because we know how powerful words are. So we attempt to create the world that we want to see through the words that we choose, like I'm doing now, right? I'm using the power of words to empower others to use words to create the world that I want to see, which is a world where human beings understand their own power, so that we, the people, are the decision makers in this new reality, not the controllers, right? So that others stop feeling powerless, so that we can create the world that we want to see through the power of our intentional words and thoughts, not the words of the controllers, right? We have to stop having the words of the controllers running through our heads and replace those words with our vision, for Earth. Think about how much emphasis is actually being placed on what we can and cannot say right now, right? The controllers know the power of the word, and they've watched their understanding of this power turn people into slaves over the course of thousands of years. What is political correctness but a design on what people can and can't say? If you're deepening your awareness and empowering yourself with truthful concepts about self-healing and embodying healthier frequencies, and you've ever tried to be in a relationship with someone who literally has no idea what you're talking about, you either leave the relationship, or you wind up making your words smaller to fit their perception. We have these conversations with people that don't know what we're talking about, and it's like we've forgotten how to talk about the thing we've been studying, forever because of the lack of perception in the audience. And if the alchemist in this scenario isn't a powerful enough alchemist, their makeup can actually come undone over time by the lesser words that they're sort of, through courtesy, forced to use, right? Like our concepts get smaller if we have to make them smaller for other people to understand. The opposite is also true if the alchemist is powerful enough with their words, like these great quantum physicists who can make things simple but still embody the whole truth of what they're talking about, are so special, right? We have the word, we have the power to reconstruct or build up the other with our words. We can watch great practitioners of this, like the holistic psychologist Nicole LaPera, on her channel on Instagram. She does a great job of making people better with her words. She deeply understands the power words have and is using them to help a lot of people. So, go back and listen to some of the song lyrics that we grew up listening to and sort of compare them to the narratives that are unfolding in our lives today. We might find that a lot of these themes unfolding in our lives are actually based on song lyrics that we used to listen to over and over again when we were sort of not aware that this was happening and way more impressionable. I've been going back and listening to songs for the past 3 years or so from my childhood and kind of comparing them to, again, these narratives that are playing out in my life. And it's like, holy shit. Like the other day, I was listening to Van Halen in my car, and this song, Mean Street, came on, and it was like a pie in my face. Because at the time, I was sort of like complaining to myself about how boring life is, and about how nothing ever changes. And, then there's the part of me that jumps in and says, well, you're just seeking excitement, and going back and forth in my mind over this concept, and this song Mean Street comes on, and I'm listening to the lyrics, and it's like, at night I walk the stinking street past the crazies on my block, and I see the same old faces, and I hear the same old talk, and I'm searching for the latest thing, a break in this routine. I'm talking some new kicks, ones like you ain't never seen. And it was like, oh, I guess I am searching for some new kicks, ones like we ain't never seen. The fact that, alien disclosure is happening, and, the Washington Post came out and finally accepted the fact that the Hunter Biden laptop is true. And, it's more, the whole C-19 thing has more or less been sort of debunked publicly. Like, if the people who are still wearing masks in grocery stores now have become the pariahs, right? So there is a lot going on in the narrative now that implies that there might be some new kicks like we've never seen, like aliens, for instance. It is somewhat coincidental, but at the same time, like, if I've been, sort of listening to these lyrics, over and over in my head, for the last, I don't know, when did I start listening to Van Halen? When I was 14, so like 34 years. Who knows, man? Like, maybe if enough people were sort of uttering, the lyrics to Mean Streets in their head long enough, like, that's where all these new kicks like we've never seen have come from. So words literally have the power to sort of create spells, right? Like saying song lyrics over and over again, we're sort of enchanting ourselves. These are incantations or enchantments or spells that we're weaving with song lyrics. And if you get 5 or 6 million people all sort of saying and believing and feeling the same song lyrics over and over, like, that is a force. Okay, we have to know that. And, when we're out there singing lyrics to songs like this over and over, we're casting spells on behalf of the controllers that came up with these song lyrics, or that approved these song lyrics. And we don't even know it, okay? The lyrics of today are much more refined and effective at turning people into sort of walking dumpster fires than they used to be, because they've had more time to practice. They've had more data to look at. They know how it works. So, for instance, the number one song in America right now is a song called Stay. I just looked this up. I don't know this. By Justin Bieber. And, like, the first few lines of the song, are a spell. They're an incantation. I do the same thing that I told you I never would. I told you I changed even when I knew I never could. I know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, right? So, like, what did Bieber just say there, right? So, this is, first of all, about making men into, like, shit piles, right? I told you I was going to do something, and I can't. I lied, basically. So, this song is subconsciously reinforcing the toxic masculine, while painting women as victims, again, unconsciously. Because if you're a woman and you're sort of putting up with this, like, what does that say about you? So the first few lines of this song literally are crazy making lyrics. Like, if you believe in this sort of cognitive dissonance inspiring lyrics, or these cognitive dissonance inspiring lyrics, then you're having a crazy spell cast on you, and you don't even know it. So again, words are frequencies. They don't carry frequencies. They are frequencies. And a lot of the pain I've suffered in my life has come from others lashing out over their perceived lack of power, right? Which is why we need to learn to use words to empower ourselves and each other. Because when people are disempowered, they're desperate, right? And people who are desperate can do some pretty cruel things to assuage that feeling of desperation, right? The things people do to reclaim their power loss can be so cruel, Like, how many times in our lives have we fucked over the person who reminds us most of who we are not, right? The person that we sort of should be looking up to in a relationship. If, we're lucky enough to get someone who's a little bit better than us in certain things, what do we do to those people? Okay? When we have that feeling inside us that person is better than we, and that, we're not enough or good enough for that person, what do we do? What does everyone do when they don't feel like they're enough in a relationship? We know what that is. We don't have to answer it, and we know who you are, right? So, I'm basically all for people being empowered and treating each other as the sovereign, empowered being or person that they are. This is why the golden rule is golden, right? If you're empowered and you treat others as you want to be treated, you're treating them as the sovereign God spark energy that they truly are, because you've discovered this God spark in yourself, and now you're helping to sort of, or now you're speaking directly to it in others. This is how we create the new earth, right? We have to be laser focused with our words and intentions. And I know that this is like Abraham Hicks 101, but that's the thing about fundamentals, like being very mindful of the energetic power that words have, right? The fundamentals work every time. They never go out of style, and people who practice the fundamentals become like the greatest of all time. That's all I had to say for now. I just wanted to hop on real quick and remind you that your words are frequencies, and that it does pay to be mindful, and to really sort of go through the process of examining, even through an exercise like uttering a word like Mike is great. Like, I like Mike, and I like is, right? Because when it's associated with great, that isness, and that association with great, it makes me feel positive. If I say Mike is always great, I examine that, and I like the word Mike, and I like the word is, and I like the word great, but I don't feel that strongly about always, because always seems sort of impossible. But, if we take it back a step and we say, Mike is routinely, or Mike is consistently great, that's something I can sort of live with, right? Like, that feels truthful to me, right? Mike aspires to greatness, okay? Anyway, the point is, like, if you slow down and tune in to the resonance, that your words carry, you can actually feel how words make you feel. And so give it a try. I don't know if you're into writing affirmations or mantras or whatever, but analyze those words. Use your heart as a tool for analysis, and apply it and see what you come up with. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.